Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why in each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amy Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, I'm back. I've got some more friends from Texas. I'm very excited about this. And man, I just recently had 2 guests on at the same time. Now I've got 3 guests on at the same time. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. This is so great. And it's a real interesting mix. So let's find out who we've got here. So before I go further, let me say welcome. Why don't you guys take a second to tell folks who you are, where you're at, and what you do?
My name is Rachael Welsh. I am a school librarian in Pearland, Texas. So we're right south of Houston. I am at a middle school. This is my 3rd year at Sablatura Middle School.
Nice. Go middle school.
So my name is Vera. I am a math teacher at the same school. I've been here for 7 years, and this is my first year joining the book club, so the Bilingual book club. So I'm very, very excited to share what we have learned together.
And you are my first math teacher ever on the podcast. So welcome. Congratulations. I'm very excited to hear how this comes together. This is awesome.
Building bridges with book clubs.
Yes. Love it.
And hola, I'm Carolina Medina, and I'm the Spanish teacher here on the campus. And I have been with Miss Welsh since the inception of book club.
Love it. I love this. I love that we've got this awesome group that is coming together for literacy. So wonderful. So great. So before we go too far, I'm kind of curious, where did this idea originally come from for bilingual?
So we are super lucky. We have a dual language program as part of our school. So we have general ed and then dual language and also the Gifted and Talented Academy. So in our district, the dual language program starts in kinder, and the students, it's not just for English language learners or kids with English as a second language. It's for parents who want their students to learn or their children to learn Spanish. So the teachers from, pre-K kinder up through 6th grade speak both English and Spanish. They learn all of their core classes in English and Spanish. So when I came to the school, I just thought this was the coolest thing. We're in Texas, Spanish is becoming a majority. It's the coolest program that we have. And so much of our culture is rooted in the Mexican culture. So I caught the idea of creating a bilingual book club so that we could have the kids reading in both reading in both English and Spanish. So we choose the same book, and then the kids get to choose if they do English or Spanish, and then we have the conversations in English and Spanish. So
That's
I
awesome.
approached Carolina, who was she was a reading teacher at the time and then became the Spanish teacher, and to see if she thought that this would be a good idea and would be interested. And luckily, she said yes.
That's awesome. I love immersion. We need more language immersion generally. And it's awesome that your students are getting that. And so great that you've got teachers who are so fluent in both languages that they can support their students, across those, what might otherwise be seen as barriers. And I love, Carolina, that you were a reading teacher before you went into Spanish. That's amazing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I absolutely love being an elective teacher now. Shout out to the elective teachers and the core teachers out there who are trekking through STAR season at the moment. And on the flip side of it, I love having a librarian like Rachael at our campus who truly champions our program and has that support for our bilingual students. So I think it's really opened up the doors to the library for our bilingual students who would maybe not normally visit the library as much.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I always try and talk to guests about, like, how are we thinking about our students who may not have English as their primary language? Because that is the reality for so many places. And yet it feels like very frequently we're not meeting their needs. And so I love that is something your library not only supports, but that your whole school is supporting. That's really great. And I'm so curious how Melissa got pulled into this, but I have a feeling that her thread's going to tie in a little bit later. So whenever we get there, that's awesome. But we've got the idea. We've got this idea for Bilingual Book Club. And so how does it sort of build out from there? Like, you've got the seed of the idea. Where do you go?
So I noticed when I came in that a lot of our Spanish language books, so we did have Spanish language books in the collection, but a lot of them were translations. And meaning, Percy Jackson in Spanish or Diary of a Wimpy Kid in Spanish. So we really wanted to go through and kind of find that authentic representation and get more of both for the collection and for Bilingual Book Club. We wanted to be able to get books that would challenge the kids and would also allow them to learn more about themselves and each other. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that Spanish is not just one language. There are different, and I know Carolina and Melissa can speak differently to that because I didn't even realize it coming in that there are different slangs for, if you're from Honduras or if you're from El Salvador. When I would go to one of the dual language teachers asking for a translation of the flyer, they would say, well, I think it's this, but check with this one too, because in my culture, it's this, but in Mexican culture, it's this. And I was like, what? So we did a lot of work to make sure that this would be something that we could represent a lot of our student populations as well as our teachers. We wanted to get a full mix of genres. So each book is a different genre to, again, show that the representation is not just like not every Mexican story is a migrant story. Everything in Spanish has to be, a struggle, that we can have, a spooky story. We can have a realistic fiction, historical fiction. So that's kind of where we started. And so we built the book list and then advertised it to our students. And it's not just for dual language students. We have general ed students as well as students in our Gift and Talented Academy that it's open to everybody. So we have everybody that's in there.
And I was going to add, totally give Rachel the credit here. Like you said, how did we build it out? And she's talking about picking genres and different stories and different author voices. Really, it is our qualified Texas certified librarian who built out that list and really takes the time to do that. And I just always want to put it out there that she never put it on me and Melissa, the other co-sponsor teacher, to go out and do that work. So I just always highlight that because I think in this time where, some librarians are being cut, some libraries are closing down, sadly, in some schools. I think that having Rachel here doing this important work and building out this bilingual book club is just, we should put a light on that because that is what librarians are for. And this is a person who's awesome to have at a school, and we need certified librarians in Texas.
I love that. Man, I love the underline that because that is so important these days. Man, I'm kind of curious, and I don't know if you can speak to this or not, but I know you were saying that there are books that are in translation. And I'm just kind of curious, like what those translations sort of look like to readers of the translated language. Because like I have heard that some of the translations are kind of so-so. And so that kind of makes me a little curious if you had any thoughts or experience with that.
And that's where we can speak maybe on the part of, it's not a translation, it's more of an adaptation. Rachel is the one that's been in charge of finding the books, but my husband has a company where he translates.
Oh.
And he's very clear on that. Actually, the name is called Spanish Adaptations because we are not just translating. He normally works on educational programs for science, and he has done programs from K through 12. And he offers more the service as that I am not just going to translate the text that comes from the workbook or whatever. I'm going to adaptate that to the needs of the kids that you have so that they're understanding the context of whatever they're reading.
That's awesome. Oh man, that's great.
And if you want to know, or you know where did I came from? No, like when was my coming into the club?
Yeah.
I am a math person. I'm an accountant. So numbers are my thing. Reading was not my strongest. And Rachel has had also it's the regular book club. I was always afraid of it because, first of all, the books are in English. My first language is Spanish. I was born in Mexico and I came here when my husband and I got married almost 20 years ago. All of my education was in Mexico. I was lucky that my parents were able to afford a private education. So everything in my education was in English. So my English, it's from Mexico. But I've always wanted to increase my vocabulary because I think reading, it's the way we do increase that. Our vocabulary. So when I heard about all this book club, bilingual book club, I said, you know what? This is a safe place for me to start. This is where I'm going to feel comfortable and I'm going to challenge myself. This is a place where I can not read in Spanish. I chose the book in English because I wanted to improve my vocabulary, but I was in a safe place where if I don't understand something, we can always look in Spanish and see. So that made me feel really comfortable and say, you know what, this is me. I'm going to start. Let me experience this with the kids, with my coworkers and friends, and that's something, an example that I like to set with my students as well. Like, see, you don't need to be afraid of it. I know that some of you, your first language is Spanish. So am I, but we can try and learn. And it has been such an amazing experience for me as a math teacher to be participating in a bilingual book club.
I love that.
She joined as a member first. So last year it was just, there was another science teacher who has since left. We miss her. We miss Miss Mejia so much. And so because Miss Vera had joined as a member and had the conversations with the kids, we approached her and asked if she would want to join as a sponsor.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's when me and I started.
That's how we got our math teacher.
Yes.
So great. And I love, you said that it struck you as a safe place to be. And that's just so, that gave me goosebumps when you said that, because that's something that a lot of our students, no matter what their language, may not feel in a library space. And I love that you've got a space that brings you that sense of, this is a safe space. This is a place that we can be together and that we're going to learn together. That's so outstanding. And I'm so happy for you and for your students that you've got that kind of a thing going on there. So
yes, great. It's something that it's really important, and I'd always wanted to. And I think there's kids that have that in them. Like, I've always wanted to do this, but because of this, I don't want to try. I am afraid, and that's normal. And even adults, I'm 43 years old. Well, no, sorry, 42 years old. And I'm still afraid of some stuff, of some things, challenges, but always with a positive attitude and trying to learn. That's the best way.
Absolutely. 100%. I love that. So it sounds like you started this 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And so maybe walk me through, how did you sort of, when you were first getting things going, how did you sort of get it off the ground? You've got the idea for this and you've got some texts that are in both Spanish and in English. Mm-hmm. How did you sort of get it out there so that folks would know about it?
So we talked about it with the students in my library orientation. In the beginning of the year, we talked about the different book clubs, the different clubs. We came out with a really cute logo because
logos are important.
So our middle school is 5th and 6th graders, which is different. I know some middle schools are 6, 7, 8, some that's junior high. Like, everybody has different names. So in our district, middle school is 5th and 6th grade and junior high is 7th and 8th. So for our 5th and 6th graders, having a cute logo and stickers. So we made stickers. And that was the thing, was when you joined the book club, you got a sticker.
Never underestimate a sticker.
Never underestimate the power of a sticker. So we also did permission forms. So I had a list of the books. I came up with 4 books for the year that were in different genres. So that way the kids could look up the books and the parents could look up the books. So again, we are in Texas where, some parents are concerned overly about books. And so I wanted them to be able to be completely clear about what we were reading, what the content was, all that. And
having that transparency up front. When you get it up front, you don't have to worry about something coming back to bite you later. That's great.
And it also gave the kids, we did make the caveat, if you join the book club, you have to be in every single book, you have to do every single one. You are in it for the year. You can't pick and choose the books. But because we had the list of the books, they knew, okay, if I want to read The historical fiction, I just have to get through the spooky, spooky is not my thing, but I just have to get through it to get to the books that I want. And so that gave them more of an idea. Oh, I want to do the graphic novel. Oh, that's at the end. Okay, I can do it. I can wait for the graphic novel. And so it also gave them something to look forward to because they knew what books we were doing. We do meet every week. So we break down the books into chunks that we discuss each week. And that way it's also, because again, we have 5th and 6th graders. They are busy and they are also forgetful.
Yes.
So when I was a high school librarian, we would read the whole book and talk about the whole book at one meeting. But we decided, for one, the kids want that camaraderie. They want that togetherness. And so meeting once a week and kind of breaking it up has been much easier for us with the discussions. And they look forward to it. They want to come. And we started this year, we end every book with a celebration party.
Oh, nice.
That is we didn't intend for this, but each party kind of represents the books. We did A Seed in the Sun by Aida Salazar, which is a historical fiction about Dolores Huerta and the Delano grape strike. And so we had one student brought grapes. So we talked about all of in the book, they talk about the things that the migrant farmers would have worked with. And so one student brought grapes. She was very proud of herself. One boy made banana pudding because they talk about how they would farm with bananas.
Sure.
And he was very proud to tell us that he made the banana pudding. His mom just helped. And then one student brought chicken and dumplings, which we were like, okay, because she kept talking about, I'm going to make chicken and dumplings. I'm going to do. And we were like, okay. But it turns out it was her great grandmother's recipe, and she was a sharecropper.
Oh.
So all of the books, the kids are so excited to bring things that are representative of either the book or themselves. We're reading Miss Camper now by Kat Fajardo, the graphic novel. It's the sequel or the companion book to Miss Quince's. Mm-hmm. And in Miss Quince's, the character goes to Honduras. And one of our students came up and was like, I can bring Honduran food.
Yes.
Because she said, I'm Honduran. My mom makes this dish. And she described it. And we were like, yes, please.
Yes. That's awesome. I love that the students are seeing themselves in these books. Like that's one of the things I love too about the fact that you're doing it as genres rather than as the monolithic, because that's something that I know it gets talked about a lot in school library circles. Well, maybe not enough, but the idea that we get this diverse literature and it's all about struggle and, it's we're looking at the diversity in terms of the difficulties people have instead of looking at the joy and looking at just, we're all people. People go through similar experiences. Like it doesn't have to be that everything is trauma. It can be just fun and enjoyable. And I love that your students are finding these personal connections. And I got to say, I haven't had Honduran food, but man, I would love to. So man, you're all fortunate.
Yeah, she was describing it to us. It's like it's a tortilla with beans and avocado and cheese. And we're like, yes.
Yeah. Man.
Love it. Yeah. We're very much looking forward to that one.
That's awesome. So you said you've got 4 books. And so I'm assuming that you're doing like one a marking period?
Yeah, it's about it. So it depends on what's going on with the school, because sometimes we'll have, like right now we have testing, and then it depends on, like if we have a break or spring break it's about one every 6 weeks. Yeah. About one a month or one every 6 weeks.
I think you timed it out really well.
We also sometimes we take a break in between books just to like give us some breathing room.
I feel like for 5th and 6th grade, I feel like 6 weeks is probably a real sweet spot to be in, because it's enough time for them to really take their time with it and enjoy it as they're going through it without kind of having to rush through anything, without also adding an extra layer of like homework on top of whatever homework they've already got.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. And some of them, so this one is much shorter. The graphic novel is much shorter. Gotcha. Whereas some of the longer, like A Seed in the Sun was a heavier subject matter. That when we did Hands by Torrey Maldonado, which is much shorter. So, but that one was between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, we're able to do these kind of, and time them out so that we're able to kind of fluctuate. So yeah, Seed in the Sun took, like 7 or 8, Hands took about 3. So it just all kind of depends.
Gotcha. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, you don't want to lock yourself into a time frame that's not going to work for every book. Yeah. Okay, man. So we got our students aware, they've got the lists. In terms of, so you run this basically, I mean, it is a club, but you run it sort of like an actual, almost extracurricular club, it sounds like.
Yes, we meet after school. We thought about, well, my first year I tried book club in the mornings, and that did not work for me. I'm not a morning person, and traffic did not always agree with me. And then we also considered, we're not in a space in a school where we're able to, I know some high schools can do like lunch clubs and stuff. We have too many lunch periods for that to be effective. So after school is really the only way that we're able to have clubs.
Gotcha.
We don't have like a consistent advisory period or homeroom or anything. So the kids stay after school.
Okay. That totally makes sense. And so I'm kind of curious, Carolina, when she kind of roped you into this, what was the, did she have to like drag you into this, or was it sort of like you heard this and you were like, ooh, this is really something that I think we need to get into, or sort of where were you coming at it from?
It was a mix of both because, I want to keep it real. I think that when we talk about it being after school, some teachers are like, oh my God, committing to staying after school. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was definitely the, ooh, I love it. She sees, because it's not just seeing the kids, it's also her seeing us.
Yes.
As people and seeing us and wanting to read bilingual books. And I will speak to the part about staying after school. I think we found the sweet spot with 3 sponsors because we stay the half hour with the kids get dismissed, and there might be a week where I have something in my personal life going on that I'm like, hey, can I skip out on this week? And so then I'm able to do that, and that's great. Sometimes Melissa has to go, and she got a brand new puppy she wants to go home to.
Yay!
She wants to go home, and she's like, hey, you guys got it this week? And we do. We definitely
awesome.
all 3 try to make it every single week, and at least through the dismissal of the kids. But I think the more the merrier. If you're thinking about starting a bilingual book club at your school, definitely try to get, as many teachers as you can. Like I said, 3 has worked out great. And of course, it is that commitment of now I'm staying after school. But when you see the end product and you see the kids coming to the library and talking about the books, that's just the reward. And then I think also speaking to the amount of books we read, I mean, you can tell the kids remembered the book because I think if we had too many books, the kids just wouldn't even remember it. It'd be too overwhelming for their age as well. Yeah. But I think we hit the sweet spot with 4 books because when we asked the kids, hey, what did you think about Hands, or which one was your favorite book this year? They can tell you all about it and why it was their favorite or wasn't their favorite genre of the year. So I think it's been great with those 4 per year.
Yeah.
And also the time spent, like 30 minutes, it's a perfect timing. Like 30 minutes is enough for the kids to be focused, paying attention after school and all that. Maybe if you make it like an hour long, 45 minutes long, you would lose them around 20 minutes past that. So making it like a 30-minute book club every week, whenever we're reading a book, that's been also very helpful.
And it's really nice to see that they want to stay longer with us on the party day. So on the party with the food day, they're like, can you ask Miss Welsh? And usually they hit us up first. Can you ask Miss Welsh if we can do longer for the party?
I
love it.
Food you're bringing.
That's great, though. I mean, it shows that they really are engaging with what you're doing there, which is awesome. And I mean, thinking about them recalling stuff and the fact that you're kind of taking your time having them read these books, I think that is a really smart decision because, I mean, the research shows the longer we take to kind of take something in, the longer it's going to stick with us. So that's great that you're kind of giving them the time to sort of marinate in the books and really find their place with the stories and find that spot in their brains for it to kind of live. That's awesome. And I'm kind of curious, Melissa, if as someone who has been both a participant and now sort of the advisor, have you seen anything? Are you looking at things any differently now that you are on the advising side versus in the participant side?
Well, at first, the first book, I was so nervous because I was like, am I going to have to start asking questions? Like, I don't even know which questions to ask. Like, is it going to be the right question, the wrong question? Am I like all those things? So I think this year has been an awesome experience. Carolina and Rachel have been mostly leading it, and I've been jumping with some good questions and seeing how it goes and how, like, what type of questions to ask or what important things to touch and all those things. So I think at first last year it was just maybe look around, let's see what they're doing. And then especially the kids seeing a math teacher there was like,
yeah.
So
I can just imagine the faces.
The first year, that's what I noticed. Now it's been such different because the relationship, and that's something we have talked about, the relationship that I have built with these kids being in this club has changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Now they see me, when I come here, it's okay, it's just Miss Vera. But whenever it's in the class, it's Miss Vera, show your work. It's Miss Vera, write the numbers right. Is it right? So it's
a pencil.
Yes, it's very, very exciting for me to build that part of the relationship with the kids, not only as the math teacher, but also as an advisor for a book club that you can talk about many other things that maybe in math you can't because
absolutely
of what the course is about. So yes.
Well, and I love too that you're giving them an additional lesson on top of all that they're getting to see that adults and the teachers in the school they can behave differently in different situations. They can be sort of different people in different situations, just like the students sometimes behave differently when they're in different places. So like helping them to see that the adults in their lives are doing that too, I think is so worthwhile and important for them to get those sort of lessons. So it's awesome that you're getting those interactions. And I mean, just as a teacher, I'm sure it's incredibly gratifying to have those connections with the students when they're coming into class that you can kind of like, oh, hey, how about that book? And, hey, let me know what we're moving on to.
And that happens. And I'm like, yes, we have something else to talk other than the numbers and other than the homework and all that. And yes, and the book and all that. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
That's awesome. Oh man. I mean, everything you're doing is so great with this program. It's it's filling me with joy to hear about what you're doing here. It's really great.
And something I wanted to add, because when you were saying, how do you promote the book club? And Rachael was talking, I remembered because this, normally our school makes an incoming parent night to welcome all the new parents, the 4th grade kids that are coming to 5th grade. And this past years, the principal has invited me to talk about the dual language program. And what I noticed this year, different than last year, is that the bilingual book club was already part of what the principal was presenting about the school.
Nice.
And me being able to talk about it, mentioning it's a part, it's just, we feel that now it's something that they are looking at and they are like paying attention to. Look, they're doing this. So it's something that it's also being promoted by them. So it's something very, very good that
I love that. And I mean, I think it speaks to the value that this has because so often administrators are like, yeah, okay, whatever, but that they are highlighting this as one of the elements of the school. Yeah, that really speaks to volumes, I think, about what you guys are doing there. That's awesome. I'm kind of curious, do you have any sort of ways that you might differentiate for students that have different ability levels as you're going along? You had mentioned that you've got a graphic novel. Was that a choice for differentiation purposes, or was it more just, let's try something fun and different?
Yeah, kind of both. I'm graphic novel, as I'm putting on my librarian hat. Graphic novels are books and they are valid. There's a lot of vocabulary that can come in graphic novels.
Absolutely.
And they are so popular and the kids love them. So we definitely wanted to highlight that and highlight it as a valid book source. We have used audiobooks before.
Okay.
Our school uses Sora. So I make sure that all of those books are available in Sora for any student that needs it. But other than that, we haven't really, the graphic novel is just fun and it's a different form of storytelling.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm a huge graphic novel fan. I do them all day, but that's great.
We did Mexikid last year, which was a great one. Yeah.
And I think we also, going back to that safe space, I think we also make sure that the kids see that we keep welcoming back even the ones who might not be caught up with the reading or who kind of maybe struggle a little bit, who maybe reading is not their strong suit. So I think that the kids seeing that we still embrace those kids and we still include them as part of the bilingual book club really just shows the kids we are welcoming everybody. This is a safe space, no matter if it's taking you a little longer or maybe you are working through that motivation of reading a book and sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if they're not caught up with the reading, they still come to the meetings, and we don't point it out. We don't other it. Sometimes I am the one that's catching up 5 minutes before, and I'm like, everybody be quiet. I got to read my book. So it all just depends.
Well, and I imagine too that the safe space feeling that you're building kind of adds an element of support for those students who may want to ask questions, who may, so that they're not feeling like they're necessarily, if they're having difficulties, they probably feel comfortable asking for assistance with those difficulties, which is not something I kind of feel like I'm 7-8 as our middle school. 5-6 is a little bit outside my wheelhouse, but I feel like that, I mean, in 7-8, I know students have a lot of trouble advocating for themselves. So I imagine at 5-6, you see that too. So creating that safe space, I'm sure, is very helpful for those students.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we have students where this is their only club because the other ones are not as accessible language-wise. We have students whose, kind of primary language is Spanish. And so this is the only club that they're able to be in and to be with their friends and to be able to be themselves and be comfortable.
So I'm kind of curious, where do you sort of go looking for the titles that you're going to use? Is there a particular resource? Is it just sort of what comes across your desk? Where do you go?
I love the We Need Diverse Books site.
Okay.
Love them. And then a lot of the times I will go to, so Scholastic has a Spanish imprint. Penguin Random House is starting because I want to make sure that I can get both an authentic representation through the author and the story, as well as make sure that it will come in both English and Spanish.
Gotcha.
So I'll go to, I think Penguin Random House now has a Spanish imprint where it will be easily accessible for me to get both books. And there are a ton of librarians, and especially in Texas, I follow several from the Rio Grande Valley, Ali Cornejo, Karina Quilanton Garza, Margie Longoria, that are constantly promoting books, Melissa Salerio in Dallas, and then also just the authors promoting things. I do read a lot, and so follow different authors and stuff. So making sure that I know like what they're coming out with, especially when they're coming out with middle grade. But yeah, just kind of make sure I'm checking out the Pura Belpré Awards. And so kind of, I know that that's a lot of things, but just kind of, just kind of keep my eye on a lot of stuff. But yeah, more publishers are kind of doing more of those. I know Scholastic, I think it's Scholastic in Espanol. And Levine Querido has one. Like, it's just, there's a lot of work in getting a lot of the translations.
Gotcha. Okay. And I mean, I got to say, Texas, your book game is strong. You guys have awesome book awards. You've got so many people in your state like sharing great titles.
Yes, the Tejas Star. Yeah, there's a lot of, I think that's the Spanish that has children's books as well as like middle grade.
You guys are rocking it. I tell you, love it. So this is your second year, right?
The second year with the book club, yes.
Okay. Is there anything that's sort of changed or evolved from year 1 to year 2?
I learned to buy all the books at the beginning of the year.
But I think it's getting better.
Yeah, last year I was like, oh yeah, we'll just get them whenever. I didn't realize like how long it took to get like purchase orders and all of that.
That lead time can kill you. Yeah.
And honestly, social media has been so great. We have a library social media. I have my own personal librarian social media. And whenever we do an event or we're starting a book, I'll make a little graphic about what we're doing, or a picture with the kids, and make a post, and we'll usually tag the author, and they almost always respond. And
nice.
Yeah. So when we did Hands, Torrey Maldonado responded and said, hey, I would love to do like a free 15-minute Zoom with you and your kids.
Sweet.
And I was like, yeah. And the kids loved it because, like there's not always times that they'll be able to talk to these authors and to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do the parties, but we also try to do some sort of like event or activity. We read Letty Out Loud by Angela Cervantes last year, where the character volunteers at an animal shelter. So for our final event, we made animal toys. You cut up t-shirts and braid them for the dogs in the animal shelter. And we donated it to our local animal shelter.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if the kids had a dog at home, we let them take one home. But so we try to tie it into different things that are special for the kids, so that both that they'll remember, like the club, but also just to like give them a new experience.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So clearly your administrators are seeing the value in this, that they are making it part of what they are promoting. That's awesome. Have you gotten any feedback? I imagine you have, from the students that have been involved. Like what kind of feedback have they been showing you that they are into this?
They love the parties.
Yes.
Motivated children.
We are very food motivated in the school. No, it was actually really nice. So we were lucky enough to be selected to present at the Texas Library Association conference. And we talked to the kids and we're like, hey, we would love to do little short clips of you guys talking about like what you think of the book club, why other people should join, why other people should have one. And it was really cool. Some of their responses were, like I like reading books that I wouldn't always read. Like I've never read a spooky book and now I have. And like I got to read this book and this character was shy just like me. And so now I know that I can also, use my voice for good. Yeah. So we were kind of, it was, and of course, the food is good. But, and the same thing with them tying things back to their families, like my grandmother and my abuela and abuelo worked in farm work. And so now I understand a little bit more. So yeah, it was really nice. So they're not always, they love the club. They love the camaraderie with their friends. They love being able to be, even with us, like we have a good rapport with ours. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that they don't like us.
Yes.
They like being with us. And I think it helps. It also we all sit on the floor with them. I think it helps them feel a little bit more adults and a little bit more like that they're doing it with us. So I think it helps their maturity level during the club for sure. And that we're all sharing at the same time.
And roughly how many students are in the book club?
On paper, we have about 20, but we have about 10 or 12 that come regularly.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it depends. Again, parents work, parents aren't able to pick them up, or
sure,
they forget. They forget to remind their parents. So yeah, we have about 20, or, sports have started. So we have one girl that has done it all year. And this last book, she's not able to do because now she's in softball. So,
gotcha.
It all just depends.
And have you got any repeat members from last year?
Yeah, we have, I think, 2 that were in 5th grade last year that are now 6th graders.
Awesome.
And we have some kids that were in 6th grade. So most of them were 6th grade that went to 7th grade, and they have younger siblings. Then they come over, they're like, I miss bilingual book club. We don't have one at the junior high.
That's awesome. That's when you're doing something right, when they come back and like, oh, I wish we still had this thing.
Mm-hmm. I wish we could read. I'm like, whoa.
I love to hear that. Have any of your teachers had anything to say about the bilingual book club?
I've had a couple of GT teachers, gifted and talented academy teachers, that mention, hey, I what's that club y'all are doing? And when we tell them about it, it's always positive feedback, and they tell us that they're glad we have it.
Yeah.
And Miss Andrea, she was also interested and just seeing how it works. She was also a librarian previously and seeing how the club works and everything. So yeah, we have had a couple of teachers ask.
And they're really supportive. So we have t-shirts and they buy the t-shirts. So they rep even if they're not in the club, they still wear the shirts and rep the club.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So our logo, I am wearing our t-shirt. So our logo, it's 3 different animals because it's very cute. And they're reading a book, but they're all different animals, but they're reading the same book.
And they speak
so
different
nice.
Symbolism. Yeah.
My Delulu self said, I think, because the rabbit obviously speaks a different language than the bear.
Than the cat.
So surely they're representing bilinguals. Kind of a reach, but we love the logo.
That it is. It's so cute. I wish this is one of the times I wish we had video so people could see it, because it is really cute.
It is so cute. We'll send you a shirt.
So, I mean, this is amazing. Do you have any words of wisdom, thoughts, if people want to start this in their own school?
I think
Melissa said, do it.
I think I can speak for the teacher side. I think teachers do have a lot going on. But I think you just take that leap and take that commitment to say, hey, oh my gosh, it's one more thing, it's one more day I'm staying late after school. But like I said earlier, when you see the reward and you build those relationships with the kids, and I mean, I enjoy the books. I enjoy the books a lot. And I can tell you, as a little ESL kid myself back in the day, I love seeing my culture being represented in books. I see myself in the books too. So I think it's just accepting that you are taking something extra on, but that it's something you're passionate about. But to definitely, do it because you're passionate, do it because you want to share those books that you see yourself in and your students see themselves in. And partner up with your librarian. Like I said, you use them as the resource, as the professional who's going to be picking out those books, and find another buddy on the campus that's interested, so that way, like I said, you can cover yourself when, hey, something's going on, or, I'm just really overwhelmed this week. Can you guys cover? Those would be my words of wisdom.
Yeah. I love that you guys are so cross-disciplinary, that we've got folks working in different parts of the school all coming together for this. It's great.
It is. And I am very lucky that I have both supportive teachers as well as Spanish-speaking teachers and native Spanish-speaking teachers. If you do not have that but are still interested, when I was setting up for our presentation, I found a study that was about bilingualism. And one of the quotes was, you do not have to speak the language as well as you are approaching everything with intention. So if you are able to do the work, do the research, make sure that you are representing across the diaspora, making sure you're getting the different stories, if you're not able to have a Spanish speaker, I think this is something that you could still support and could still have if you have those students in that need.
And I imagine, too, there's an opportunity there for folks who maybe don't speak a second language as advisors to learn from the students and sort of give the students that extra empowerment and that extra expertise in the room, which anytime we can give our students that ability, that agency, and that power, that's always a great opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. If you can just be the space and be the support, you will be surprised at what your students are able to.
Yeah. Huh, man. Well, this is an amazing program. I thank you so much for sharing it with us. I think we are at the point where we're going to take our 90-degree turn and go into our book break.
Book break.
Woohoo! So, what are you going to bring for us? What should we get on our reading radars?
I've got so much. So the past books that we've read. So get out your pens and your pencils, because here we go. The books that we have done, last year we did Felice and the Wailing Woman by Diana Lopez, which is a spooky story that is about La Llorona. The narrator finds out that she is the daughter of La Llorona and has to go back to the town to try to save the townspeople from her mother, who doesn't know that she actually survived. And then we did Letty Out Loud by Angela Cervantes. That was a realistic fiction that was about the girl who wanted to work on her English. And so she volunteered at the animal shelter to be the shelter scribe. But there was a boy who also wanted to be the shelter scribe. The kids were very into their potential relationships. Then we did Mexikid by Pedro Martin. That is a graphic novel memoir of his family's travels back to Mexico after his grandmother passed to bring his grandfather back to California. This year we have done The Cursed Moon by Angela Cervantes, which is another spooky story. The kids loved it. We had her as an author visit, and she was the sweetest person. And we explained to her, I chose us to read the book at the time that I knew she was going to come. So she actually sat and talked with the kids. We had a little mini book club meeting where she sat and answered their questions and was wonderful. Then we did Hands by Torrey Maldonado, realistic fiction, which was a male protagonist, which I thought was really great, where he is growing up in kind of a rougher neighborhood and has to decide if he is going to give in to his anger and kind of his family trauma or use his hands for art. He's also an artist. Then we just finished A Seat in the Sun by Aida Salazar, the historical fiction about the Delano grape strike with Dolores Huerta. That is a novel in verse. Super great. And we are now doing Miss Camper. I just said that earlier. Miss Camper by Kat Fajardo, the companion novel to Miss Quince's, which was also fantastic. I just read it. I yelled at the kids because they didn't tell me that a certain plot point that was sad. They didn't give me that heads up. But so she, in part of Miss Camper, was that she agreed to have a quinceañera if she was able to go to camp. And now it's the next summer and she's able to be at summer camp with her friends. And then what we're looking at for next year is there's a new book that's coming out in May. It hasn't quite released yet, but I just got an advanced reader copy of the Chismosas Only Book Club. by Lake and Z Kemp, and it is so good. I'm super excited. There's 4 girl characters that have a book club. They call themselves the Chismosas Only Book Club, and their bookstore is magical. And the bookstore kind of chooses the books for them that relate. It's almost like a sisterhood of the traveling pants, but with books. Kind of like helps them through all of their struggles with these different books. And within the book, she, has a bunch of, she talks a lot about the books that they're reading, and so there's like a separate book list for her, but that one is very good. Coming out in May.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
Woo.
Man. All right. Wow. So we've got awesome books. We've got an awesome club. I mean, this is just so great. I hope that people are going to be as engaged and enthralled by this as I am, and they need to start finding your socials. Where should they go looking if they want to find you guys online?
So I am on Instagram at Rachael Reads, RachaelReads. We are also at Sablatura Library, Sablatura. And that is where we post a lot of our bilingual book club shenanigans.
Love it. They sound like fun shenanigans.
We have some good times. Lots of food.
Can't ever go wrong with too much food.
All right. So they can find me Instagram at Mely, Mely, Vera, Ver 83.
Awesome.
And I think my TikTok name is Karen Ross, KarenRoss 6.
All
and
right.
I am happy to, share anything. And if you're a teacher thinking about this, I am happy to motivate you. And I know Rachael she's a little TikTok famous. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah.
she's like a librarian celebrity. So, but everyone you meet can confirm she will reply to your DM. She will reply to your message and definitely guide you. Like we said, she is the wizard of all the purchasing the books, budgeting for the books, and researching.
Amazing. Man, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate you taking the time to tell us about this. And I really appreciate that you put this together and brought it to your state conference, because this is something that more people need to know about and need to do. So kudos to you, and awesome on TXLA for having you guys to share this, because it is awesome. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.